Now pay attention because part of what are going to discuss today is Stefano's split between the largest reploser and the biggest DoorDash keyboard fighter. Please subscribe and give a like. And now, given what just transpirator, these hostile, irate and obnoxious Loy stands will be much more upset. With them, I will require the assistance. Leave that like that. And the weight that this will carry moving forward will vary significantly given the recent collision off the two largest crashes involving anything like rap music. Rap is about to take off like we have never seen it, before collectively, even as hip-hop Asa culture and the genre progress with the very thing surrounding Tyler the Creator and his new album. This is all part of fun that we will have with the significant occasion that this will be. On the other hand, things are becoming rather awful for certain people in this day and age because they have repeated limed poor decisions. And the true reason behind this is that the finest MCs and cultural ambassadors are emerging in the rap industry right now. The worst individuals are failing on the other side of this. It seems like hip-hop is winning too many battles. And as a result of this, these losers are just starting to truly decay in a way that we could have never predicted, even on their darkest days. Therefore, we must ensure that everyone understands it has transpired here before Tyler Creator creates a whole new wave of this potential golden age that we are about to witness. This is because the strange partnership between rap's favorite DoorDasher and the melting man appears to be coming to an end, and everyone needs to know how bad it really got in a time when classics are dropping and many people's legacies are falling off the Feltham list. Overall, there is a growing conflict between these two hip-hop ideologies with some people benefiting and others suffering. Now it appears that Nicki Minaj collapse, which was caused by Sasha Mana manager TDE leader Punch, and then more TDE got involved, and essentially picked her up and embarrassed her severely as squat, caused a whole new wave of losers that no one could have even predicted. Even though two, as a whole, ended up looking stronger than ever. Young Money recently revealed to her that they had done of the most shameful collapses in the history of music and rap. There are repercussions of this, however, revealed a spiral that was even more unmanageable than we had anticipated. The person who got involved in this and simply informed us of the chaos on that side of hip-hop thought. I doubt any of us even want to be near, as well as all of the noise that truly matters from this and what will affect people, beyond them doing it. From Big Akademiks rap's least favorite basement dweller, we also learned about A's current destination since he had to plunge into this thing since they have been having problems for a while. AC truly got involved in this whole feud simply to be mean and spiteful to Caesar. Drake personally contacted him and urged him to simply stop speaking to her in that manner, which is the only reason their feud ever ended in 2023. Naturally, this was also the time that Drake and Caesar shall board on a couple of tracks. Thus it appeared like they were communicating well. Now fast forward to the present and Caesar and Drake are not doing well. Ask him to stop harassing her. And now Essa, result of DJ Akademiks doing what he does best, which is irritate people in the most disrespectful and incomprehensible ways possible for somebody of his prominence. Punch called him out and accused Act of having Drake manage his social media accounts and write the offensive captions he uses, which was a fair check on him. And it seemed like Punch had struck a chord with Act that deeply troubled him with what he said, and what ultimately transpired was simply the clearest sign that Drake and DJ Akademiks' relations has never been worse. When A eventually left his basement and took a brief respite from being the most faithful person, even when taking a break from doing the annoying broadcast where he is just producing trouble after trouble, we realized how terribly everything had gotten. He had to conduct a special live performance to correct certain problems, since he was so furious that he once again jumped off his piano. He is done with Drake, as seen by Fish charged up Crash Out, which did not include any more of his DoorDash or anything like that. Additionally, it appears that while things have gotten worse for them, they have improved for all of us. State after a rather heated disagreement, they are not working as closely together as while once witnessed when their whole text and communications got disclosed in the first place. Simply came out and told us everything is the way it is, which, essentially because Act was reprimanded by the pathetic old Ubrelov and Kareen and Drake for his interactions with Dave Free and Anthony Salah at Kendrick Lamar's GNX show. Akademiks is shouting too loudly to have listened to this. So, I'm just going to tell you what happened straight up now. And then of itself, as you can see by his behavior, does demonstrate how angry he is with Drake, which ultimately boils down to Drake's attempts to disparage those he dislikes and the increasing mess he has caused with them since the feud. What Drake said to A is that he was terrified of Kendrick Lamar's team. Now with this, especially he and you see now the way A is going and how he is just openly talking about this after pretty much doing everything Drake said and never complaining a booty for over a year. The first and only DoorDasher of famer in hip-hop, however, stated rather bluntly that he said to Drake, I pulled up, you're going to pull up, and then put forth more effort on this. We can all see that I finally found the strength to confront the man he has done the most for and received the least back from because he ultimately told Drake that I've truly cared this much. He should have gone to the shows to speak with them, and if he were any tougher than a Hessambly would have, in other words, they are going to your city to call you a boot that thing as they informed Drake directly and repeatedly. Will you arrive by car? Well, for Drake, at this moment, now that we are seeing that you have gotten ethered by DJ Akademiks, you need to go. You had to retire because after everything that had been going on between them, DJ Akademiks of all people put you in your place and was quite forthright about how he did this. Since Drake is the softest person in the game, he will even show his face in front of his rivals, and then he simply points out how Drake didn't. So, he can't say anything about what he did. In reality, what we're seeing now is that people are so sick of being around Drake and putting up with all the absurd things that he just keeps making worse and worse. Now, A is actually asserting Thathis, more resilient than Drake, and no, the person who has always been his strongest supporter is telling everyone how soft the guy is. Furthermore, this end for everybody who is attempting to say that Drake was back on top. I believe this just makes your man appear more pathetic than you could have ever thought. And the thing that shocks me most about this is that Akademiks now completely joined the group of individuals who have called out Drake for acting like a very awful guy. Really. Now, the greatest standout, and the man who has gone above and beyond totem to assist Drake and truly restore his career, just came out and said this. Hip-hop is being dismantled then reassembled. What? We can tell us now with one of these last items. Factwash holding up the Drake House of Leeson that was giving these sad crashes a consistent voice to gather all of their anger and delusion around, even though A continues to claim that he enjoys Drake's music, which I suppose he does. And he simply has a trash ear for good hip-hop in terms of being friends with and respecting Drake. He appears to be completely fed up with him trying to posh him around and with all of the antics that come with being Drake's media puppet for so long. Once more, Akademiks have demonstrated their dominance over Drake by claiming to be tougher than pathetic Lubri. It is easy to understand why, as Akademiks actually taunted Kendrick Lamar's performance while Drake simply fled and hid from them. Akademiks can stand by his statements against Drake and just assert that he is tougher than the man, which is simply mind-boggling. I never imagined I would say this, and I really want to just laugh out loud. I doubt that anyone would have ever believed you if you had told them a few years ago that this is where hip-hop would go, especially with these crashes. And Enhan scholars are revealing that Drake's remaining persona was constructed on a foundation of falsehoods and nothing more than empty promises that he never kept. The Dash Hall of Famer himself has now physically encountered Drake. This is the funniest thing that could ever occur, because Drake is currently attempting to resurrect hip-hop and compete with artists like Pusha T and Kendrick Lamar, as well as elite figures in other fields like LeBron. Since the end of the beef, Aka has been leading the group of people who have become Drake supporters and the entire audience who genuinely think that Drake was set up by the industry as well. Therefore, it is important to have a basement dweller who has genuinely done more than you have to ensure that your fanbase remains united. Drake is devastated by this loss, since he is genuinely unable to attempt to communicate with anyone at this time. Because what would you say if I had betrayed him and just called him out for being weak? And now really, you still support Drake even though it seems like a rap renaissance is about to begin. And there are a lot of things happening that demonstrate how much better hip-hop is without him at the forefront. Now, even with Drake yelling at Akademiks and their eventual turn against him and refusal to put up with all of the absurd things he has had to go through, it feels like it was scripted for a movie. Since this is what it is, the villain Siddiq is now essentially turning gay against him. Just off of it now is Thela Jess Drake stand and the head of the group of individuals who have supported him thus far. We are seeing not only the biggest and most blatant proof that Drake was never put up by the industry at all, but also that he is simply a straight-up bad person who ends up making Gavin his friends not like him. He has gotten in a lot of problems because of it. Additionally, the situation is made worse by the disappearance of the Actan, the shrinking circle of this so-called lame old loving team. Drake, no matter what you think of A and his people, they have been out there every day ensuring that Drake remains the most obnoxious presence in hip-hop that we could have. No one else is going to do it. So, it doesn't even matter what other clout chasers still hang out around him. In actuality, Drake is having a terrible time right now. While more iconic moments, songs, and albums from legendary rappers seem to be on theory, breaking up with Akademiks is about the worst thing that could have happened, and it will only make Drake's situation worse, because unless there is something he can do to change things, he will be forced to do whatever he wants. The stories are going to turn against Drake even more, in a way this time around, leaving his fans completely lost because they will no longer have one off the leaders of the movement that has been dividing hip-hop as a whole, creating that divide further and really Overall, as we are now at a point in time on hip-hop where the clips are outwinning over everyone like Travis Scott, Justin Bieber, and Lil Wayne, and now Tyler the Creator may have another classic coming in wild. Kendrick Lamar, on the other side where seeing Drake still missing and despite Akademiks being the most significant individual in Drake's circle despite what his followers would have all believe. Simply tell him to stop pushing him around and call him soft. This is a huge dispute and fall off. Furthermore, it appeared as if Drake was attempting to simply enter Axe's psyche and establish a more bizarre relationship between them after he was rated and outperformed by every other streamer and clout chaser over Axe. Well then, Axe for defending himself and telling Drake that he is more sensitive than he will ever be. And now for a Hall of Famer, DoorDash, and keyboard warrior to simply clown Drake up and down like this. It seems like a lot is shifting and turning in hip-hop right now, and we are truly positively trancing into the next stage. The conflict and estrangement between Therapper and Puppet, whose collaboration has tindered this genre, is a clear indication of where it's all headed. The hassle of this began and developed as a result of Nicki's complete collapse. We're beginning to see that all of these individuals on this side of hip-hop are just still having their epic fall-offs. Not only is the opposing side, but all of these losers are putting an end to careers in a manner that has never been witnessed before. And when you consider this, you can't help but wonder what these people might be thinking, because they just managed to bring themselves more and more shame with every action they take. Now that you have mentioned all of this, please let me know. How do you feel about the split between Drake and the Akademiks? With whom are you siding? What impact, in your opinion, will it have on hip-hop narratives and how Act handles Drake in general moving forward? I'm eager to hear your thoughts on all of now. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you've watched the entire video and are looking forward to an amazing day of rap music. It's really helpful to me. Speaking of exciting times in rap history, if you're ready, toutness how Tyler the Creator is set to achieve something extraordinary and how Clips just received a gigantic wafter releasing a #1 album. Then is the time, and in all honesty, we are witnessing something monumental in rap form right before our very eyes.